Hi, welcome back to the channel. In this next video, I'm going to talk you through how you can turn this dull and boring data into this visually stunning and 100% interactive dashboard in just 3 simple steps. It's a long video, so grab yourself a tea or a coffee if you want to join along, or you can just download it for free in the link below. Let's go. Okay, so we have our data here that we'll need to use to build our dashboard. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a table. So if I Control and T, and we want to say that this table includes headers, so okay to that. And then we just up the top left here, we just want to rename this as sales data and hit return. And down the bottom here, we've got 5 different tabs. Now these are going to capture all of our different reports and pivot tables that we'll use to populate our dashboard. So if I go into the first tab, which is the sales line chart, I'll go to select a chart or a cell up the top here. And I want to go into pivot table from data and range. And then I just want to put in my sales data table. Okay. And the areas that I want to pull down in here is total sales, and then I also want my year and I want my month as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a line chart off of this pivot table here. So if I go in and select my line chart, and that's my first graph done. Now I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit and remove everything that I don't want. So I don't want my header or my sidebar, and I want to hide all of my buttons. And then I just want to format my axis, and my number, I want to change that to a custom. And then I'm going to, down the end here, I'm going to put that in as dollars. I'm going to put in a comma for thousands and then add thousands and hit add that. Yeah, that looks fine. Then we'll move on to our second chart. So again, similar, we're going to insert pivot table from table range, and we're going to put that in as sales data. This time we're going to be creating a sales by state. So if I drop my state in and then my total sales, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort that for sales. So descending for sales, so getting the top performing states at the top. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert a map chart on this, but we can't overlay that on top of a pivot table. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to just create a separate table here, which just links into the pivot table all the way down. That's just creating a mirror of the pivot table there. And what we want to do is we want to select that data, hit the maps, and then create this map here. And then what we want to do is delete the chart title, delete the series, and then we can just move that just up a little bit. Now I also want to create a little table here, which is my top performing stores. And I'm going to have here a store and then sales. So my row is going to be for, let's say, 1 to 5. My stores are going to be stores here down, and my sales totals from here. And I'm going to change the format that as well of the numbers. So I'm just going to put it in again, comment to that. Okay, put in 0, and then we're going to put in the dollars in there as well. Okay, so that looks good. Maybe if we center that. So then we're going to go on to our third chart, which is our customer satisfaction chart. So again, I'm going to insert, and then I'm going to put in my pivot table from range. Again, my table is going to be my sales data. Okay, and this time I want to put in my product categories down here, and I want to bring in my customer rating number to here. Now I don't want to sum that. This time I want to actually just get the average of that. So out of 5, this is the rating for each of those categories. Now, what I want to do again is I want to just create a separate table to the side here. So if I go equals B3, and then I'm just going to drag that across, and then I'm just going to put in a total customer rating of 5. So if I just drag that total all the way down there, and I want to copy that 5 all the way down, and then I'm just going to put up my headings here to be my category, customer, total. We just want to select that data, and then we want to insert up to the top, and we want a 2D graph there. Yep, that looks right. So let's just pull that down here a little bit, and let's just delete a couple of things here. And we don't want that down the bottom either. And what we want to do is on these blue bars here, we want to add our data labels, but we want to add those format data labels. We want to add those in the center, and we want those to be white as well. Just select those to be white. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean the data up the top here. Just take all it out, all those decimal places, bring it back to 1 decimal place. And then on this chart here, what we're going to do is we're going to overlap it. But firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice thick border. So let's say solid line, and let's make that black. And let's put the fill though as no fill. And then we're going to series overlap. We're going to put that to 100%. It just tells us then out of 5 where each of the categories, what their score is overall. So the next one we're going to go on to, the next chart, is our returns data. So if I insert pivot table from data range, and what we're going to do here is we're going to create 3 charts for the order channels. So if I go order channel up to there into the filters, return goods, we're going to put that down into our rows, and then we're going to bring in our sales, but we don't want to sum the sales, we just want to count. So all that's going to do is it's going to count the number of transactions that were returned yes and number that were returned no. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create that for concession. Now I'm going to create a little formula here which effectively will just get the percentage of our returns. So C5 divided by C6, 11% returns for the concessions. Just make that like so. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this then 3 times for store again, and then finally for online, and hit OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 donut charts of this data as well. So if I go to pivot table analyze, and then if I insert the pivot chart, go to pie and then donut, and then hit OK. It's going to be quite big, so what we're going to do is shrink that down, just move that up to the top there, do the same. What we also need to do is we need to insert a couple of text boxes, so let's put 1 there, and that will be equals top equals that. Okay, and that puts up our percentage up the top here. What we're going to do, we're going to move that into the middle, and we're going to move that to about 24%. Okay, then I'm going to copy, make sure that's selected, copy that. I'm going to make 2 copies of that, 1, 2 here, and this one into the middle on in store. And we're just going to change where that's linking into. So that should be into 15, and this one should be into 26. So let me change this format again. So that was 24. And then finally, we're going to go in and create our waterfall chart. So again, if I insert pivot table from data range, sales, data, to that. This time we want to get our order channel, and we want to bring in our total sales. Again, I think what we need to do is we need to create a separate table here. So if I go equals B3 and drag it down overall. So if I select this data and then insert up into charts, then here we can get our waterfall, and again we can just clean this up again. So let's delete our total and our legend. Let's delete this to the side, we don't need this. Select the final block here, right mouse click, there we go, and just set as total. Now I'm actually just going to change that to total. And then we select, just select our data labels, and we want those in the center. And actually let's change the number on those as well. Let's go down to custom, and then we want those in dollars. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's get rid of these grid lines as well. Delete that. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, so now we've got all of our pivot tables created. What we're going to do is we're just going to start to design how our dashboard should look. So here we have a separate worksheet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this white kind of canvas, and I'm going to insert a background. So if I go to page layout and then background, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a background from a file that I've downloaded earlier on. So insert that. And what it does, it gives a little bit of a professional feel. So it's kind of a dark skyscraper effect overall. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some shapes where I'm going to actually lay out each of our charts overall. So if I insert illustrations and then go to shapes, and then we just want our rectangle there, and we're going to put that in from B all the way across to column AC. So I'm going to use my Alt key to help that to snap into place. Yeah, just like that. And then we're going to use that maybe from up to row 4. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the rest of these shapes. So I'm going to fast forward the video while I do that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change just the colors on all of these text boxes now. So if I go into shape format, and then if we go into shape fill, and we want gradient, and we want more gradients for that, and we want gradient fill, and it's already pre-populated one that I'd done earlier. So with a kind of a dark blue into a lighter blue with a 35% transparency, so you can start to almost see the background of the buildings there as well. So if I just select those again, because I want to get rid of those borders as well. So there's the fill. We want no line on those borders. Yeah, that's starting to really take shape now. Now what we want to do is we want to just create a little tag for each of these boxes here, just giving us what each of the box relates to, and there'll be a graph within each of those boxes. So if I insert again, go to my shapes, what I want to do is I want to just create that little yellow triangle just to make it as round as possible. Let's leave it fairly big at the moment. What I want to do is I want to just again just put it more gradients to that. My color, I want that to be white, but I want that to be 8% transparency overall, just like so. I'm going to create that. Then I'm going to insert text box again. I'm going to create this over here, and I'm going to call this sales. I'm going to change my format to white, and I'm going to have a no fill there, and just make sure that my border is a no line. And then I can just move that over to there. Now what you can also do is just put a little icon before that to make it a little bit professional. So if I insert icons, I'm just going to check in within business, see if there's anything I quite like here. Yeah, let's just go with that one there for the moment. So I'm going to drag this up. I'm going to change the fill of that to white, and then I'm just going to make it look a bit smaller there so that I can just pop it in there like that. That looks good. I'm just going to do the rest of that for the rest of the boxes and then come back. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now we're just going to go and start to drop in our charts. Okay, so let's go into the sales line chart. And what we're going to do is we are just going to copy this chart and then just drop it into our dashboard here. I'm just going to move it over to the right hand side here. And then I'm going to right mouse click and we are going to format chart area. So for fill, we're going to go no fill, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the design there and then go no fill. Yeah, that looks better. And then we're just going to drag it out a little bit. Okay, yeah, okay, that looks good. And for the border, we're going to remove that as well. So no line on the border. So I'm just going to select the line, and I want that to be a gradient line. I'm just going to remove the 2 gradients here, and then I'm going to have a red and a green. So on this side, I'm going to have my red, and then this side, I'm going to have it a green, like a dark green there, yeah. And I'm going to bring my green into about 50% overall. Yep, that looks good. Next, let's take across our sales area chart. So if I copy that, bring that across to my dashboard, paste that in. I'm just going to resize that down and across a little bit as well. And then I'm just going to format that as well. So no fill, and then line, no line there. I'm going to go back into the sales area chart, and just up above we did this table with the top performing stores. So what I'm going to do is view, I take out my grid lines, and I'm going to select this table. For the moment, I'm going to use the camera function. Now, if you haven't used the camera function before, I'm going to link a video up the top where you can see how that works. For the moment, I'm going to take that and I'm going to just drop that in there into my dashboard like so. So I got my top performing stores there. Now what I have to do is I have to change the format of the existing table in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, well, put a line here. I'm going to put this all in white font, and then my border here, I'm going to change that to white as well. So if I go here, what do I want? I want that in white, like that. Hit OK. And then I just need to select this and go no fill. And that gives me my little table up here. I won't want my line. I want no lines on that either. So that just gives me a nice, neat little table, which should be fully dynamic, just giving me all of the top stores. Okay, next we're going to go to our customer satisfaction. So if I go in there, I just want to take this graph, copy this into my dashboard. I'm going to put it here on the right, paste that in like so. We're just going to drag it down like that. Let's get rid of these grid lines, delete that. Let's also put it as no fill. Let's change the border on the bar charts, change them to white. Let's change the text to white. Okay, that's starting to look good. And what I want to do is I want to change the fill on the bar chart and have that as a gradient fill. And what we want that to actually, I want it to start with red. Let's go up to 50%. And then the second gradient will be darker green. Actually, what we'll do is we'll actually put in a third one. Let's put that in. Yeah, that looks good. What I'm going to do is just bold the white on those as well, so they pop a little bit more. And then we'll just remove the line on that. Then we want to put in our donut charts. So if I go to my returns chart, top one's going to be concession. So let me bring that one in first. Copy that. So remember to remember that. Session, paste that in. We want to take out these field buttons, take out this total, and we take out this legend as well. Let's just resize that down. We're going to need to get 3 of these in here. Probably have to be over a little bit. It's that. So I'm just going to do this for the next 2 as well. So I'm just fast forward. Okay, so we just want to make a quick change to these donut charts so that they're all kind of in the right direction. So if I go back into my returns chart, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the order of these and put them all as descending. Okay, so put this one as descending as well, and then this one as well. Here we go. So that the blue area is just the returns. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to increase the size of the donut overall. So I'm going to bring that up to maybe about 85% for each of those as well. So I can get my text in. Just change that to 85. Change that to. So now I'm just going to go and grab my labels for each of these. So if I go to my returns here, copy all of these, bring them across to our dashboard and just paste them in here. Now what we've got to do is we've just got to update the links here. So if I just go into my return, back to my dashboard. So I'm just going to update my links. So that's D5. I'm going to go back into my returns, and then the final one. I'm just going to make these a little bit smaller, make our font a little bit bigger. That in there, no fill, no line, white. I'm just going to then drop these labels into each of these donut charts and fast forward on a bit. Okay, that's really starting to take shape now. So finally, we're just going to take our waterfall chart and drop that in as well. So if I go over to the waterfall chart, copy that and paste that in. Now again, we're going to go no fill to that, no line on the border. These labels, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. So I'm going to put them to maybe a 12 and then just make sure that they're in white. Then I want to format these labels as well. Okay, so we're just going to make the axis white. Then I'm just going to put in a gradient color on each of these bar charts. So I go in gradient. Now I want the left hand side of the bar to be white. Okay, and I want my angle to be 120, currency of 50, direction well. So I just changed that. And I want to select just my total bar chart on its own. And I want that moving towards a dark green. Let me change that gradient. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe just change the size of those a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay, we're nearly there. Okay, so I just want to change just the orange part of these donut charts, and I want to actually take those out and have no fill. And then I want to change the actual part of the donut chart that relates to the returns. I want to put that in a more of a red kind of color. That in there. Change that again. So now that we're happy with the format of our dashboard, we're going to go ahead and put the slicers on each of the graphs. So just select a graph you want to add the slicer to. Then you can go up and insert slicer. Now we want to put a slicer on for year, product category, and then order channel, and hit OK. So we've got our 3 slicers here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reposition them up to the right here. So there's our year and our product category, like so. Now at the moment, these 3 slicers are just in with the sales line chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click and then go to report connections. It brings you up this dialog box. We'll just open this out a little bit, and we want to add the years for all of these charts here. So I tick them all. That way each of these graphs down below will be linked into this slicer, and then hit OK. So if I start to change there, that will start to change all of my charts. Yeah, that looks good. Now I just need to do that for the other 2 as well. Okay, so I'm happy now. I've linked all of my slicers in with that. What I'm going to do now is, you can see these slicers, they don't really match the format of the dashboard. So I'm going to just create a custom format for each of these slicers. So to create a custom filter, go to the far left where you've got your default setting. Right click on there and just hit duplicate. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set ourselves up with a new format. We're going to call that one board. Hit return to that, and you can see it duplicates up the top. So if we select the first one and then just modify, this is our dashboard one. And what I want to do is I want to change the overall format and fill. So for fill, I'm going to go for more colors, custom, and then I have a custom color in mind, which is just match the rest of my dashboard. So I'll just type that in now. That should give me a blue color. Yeah, that's the one. Hit OK to that. Then we want to format again. We want border, and we want that just to be white, none. And then on the font, we want that one to be white as well. Okay, so we can see those changes have been made there. Actually, the font is still not changed. If I go to my header format, yeah, that's where I change it. My font to white. Okay, and then I want to change the color of these buttons. So when selected with data, format that. I want it to be fill, and I want actually more colors on that, and I got a green color in mind for that. And for unselected item with data, format that, fill that. We don't want a gradient. More colors, custom, and then I want a light gray for that, which is okay to that, and hit OK to that. So you can see that's nicely formatted that in line with the dashboard overall. So we're just going to select these other 2 here, slicers, and select those so that they're all matching there. That looks good. And then finally, we just need a header at the top here. So I'm going to insert text box. I'm just going to put it in here for the moment. And we're going to call this our sales dashboard. Put that into the center. We're going to maybe put that to maybe put that a little bit bigger. And we want that to be a white. But the fill, we want no fill, no border. Okay. So you can see we could turn some really kind of boring and dull data into a fully interactive dashboard overall.
So hopefully you found that useful. If you've managed to make it this far, then give me a little wave in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next video. Take it easy.